Video we'll learn about feasibility analysis and different types of feasibility that we analyze for our information system project. The key idea of feasibility analysis is to aid the decision of whether or not to proceed with the information system project. So feasibility analysis will give us the idea where to proceed or not with the information system project. So what are the things we will do? We'll identify the potential risk of the project, and that risk will tell us that what we should do with that system. So would we like to take that risk, and how much risky are the uh, project? So it can be determined from the feasibility analysis. And the feasibility analysis actually is a uh, continuous thing that we need to revise throughout the software development life cycle. It's not only required before starting of the project. We also need to revise the feasibilities throughout the system development. In our system development, or SDLC, the feasibility analysis, we check three types of feasibility. Like at first it comes from the technical feasibility, then organizational feasibility, and economic feasibility. Technical feasibility related to the technology that has will be using in the information system, and organizational feasibility comes from the organizational structure or development team, that the development team will be feasible to develop the system. And finally the economic feasibility, it comes from the uh, business feasibility, like whether economically the project will be profitable or not. So at first, technical feasibility, uh, it means that can we build the system. uh, so technically, is it feasible to create the system? Like for example, you are going uh, to create a time machine, but current the technology what we have, time machine is not possible, so technically it is not feasible. And the other things for technical feasibility comes from the familiarity with the application, or the knowledge of the business domain. So it means that when we are going to develop an information system, we need to have clear idea about the system what we are going to develop. Like for example, a group of students want to develop medical information system or medical automation system, but if they don't have the knowledge of medical system, then it is not technically feasible for them to develop that system. The second technical feasibility comes with the familiarity of technology. So the technology you are going to use for the information system development should be familiar with the development and project team members. For example, the guys who are going to develop the medical information system say they want to make it in Ruby on Rails technology, but none of them know Ruby on Rails. In that case, it can't be possible or feasible. The third technical issue comes from the project size. It actually comes from for the project size and the team size of the development. Like the people needed to develop that project should be uh, there in the development team. For example, you want to build a system like ERP or enterprise resource management software, but it needs a huge number of people. But say the a group of students want to develop an ERP, but their group size is for example 3 person. But 3 person cannot build an ERP with a limited time. It will take huge time, for example, 3 to 5 years, right? So in that case, it's not technically feasible. Then the compatibility comes actually for the updating of system. So if you want to mm, make a new version of your current system, and the new version and the old version are technically, if they are not compatible with each other, for example, they need to communicate with some data or this sort of things. So if they are not possible, if they are not possible to communicate, then it has compatibility issues, and compatible, technically they are not feasible. So these things we will consider in technical feasibility. The next thing comes from organizational feasibility. So organizational feasibility means that the uh, organization or the team who is going to build the system, are they able to build the system, and after developing that system, will the system will be useful for the user. So if you want to just justify your system, you can say, if you build it, will they be used? So if this question's answer is yes, then it is organizationally feasible. If not, then it is not feasible. Okay. So related some issues come from the organizational feasibility. First of all, the users will be using, is the users going to uh, use that system? So if the answer is yes, then it's okay. If not, then we need to think about the development of information system project. Okay. Then will it be incorporated in the organization? The second question, like you develop a system for example, medical information system, or a medicine support system, but if it will not be using in a hospital, then it's not organizationally feasible. So how to assess the organizational feasibility? First, we should check the strategic alignment between the project and business strategy. Then perform stakeholder analysis. The stakeholder is a key person of the information system, who either funding the project, or developing the project, or using the project. So in that case, we can make three type of stakeholders in our information system project. First type of stakeholder is project champion or champions, you can say. So this type of person are the project owner, who fund the project, who decide what the project will be. Then the second type of stakeholder comes from organizational management. It actually comes from the development team or analysis team. So who are the employee and work for developing the system. And the third type of stakeholders are the system users. Actually, they are the end users who finally use the project or use the information system. For example, you are making a e-commerce website for example, Arong. So Arong is your project champion, or they are the first stakeholders, and you, some group of students may be developing the e-commerce website, so you will be the second type of stakeholders. And finally, the users who are going to buy products from the Arong's e-shop, they will be the system users, or third type of stakeholders. So here is the details of the stakeholders. You can just look at them and find the technical details of each of the role. The third type of feasibility comes with the economic feasibility. So in economic feasibility, we examine that whether the product we are going to develop is economically feasible or profitable. So the main things behind the economic feasibility is the economically profitable or not. So to define the profit, we need to identify two things. One is the cost and another is benefit. So the cost is actually what we are going to expend to develop that system, and the profit are the benefit are the things what we get return from the system. So first we need to identify the fields of cost and benefits. I will explain a return benefits in the later slide. So we'll get the detailed idea of the field of costs and field of benefits for the information system project in that slide. Then after finding the cost and benefits, field of cost and benefits, we need to assign some values again those cost and benefits, so we can calculate the return and the profits. Finally will calculate cash flow and return on investment. So cash flow means what are the actual values or monies we need to expend in our system, or we will get return from the system, that is funded by cash flow. And ROI, return on investment, is a economic terms which determines how much profitable the system is. The higher the ROI is, more profitable business. So you actually it refers to return on investment. So on each of your investment, uh, how much amount you will get as return can be defined as ROI. Okay, now we're going into some details of cost and benefits. So in information system, we say we have two types of cost. One is development cost and another is operational cost. The development cost is the single time cost which we use to develop the infrastructure of the system, or the develop or to develop the original system. And the operational cost is to additional cost, which is actually uh, uh, we need to provide to maintain the system regularly. For example, you develop a e-commerce website shop. So at the first, you need to develop the project with some codes and uh, uh, buy a server and hire some employees. So this is called the development cost. But when the system is developed, then you need to maintain that system, or so you need to regularly pay the server cost or the server rents and some people who are going for delivery. So these are the operational cost, which is not one time but recurrently it required. And uh, after the costs analysis, you will analyze the benefits. So benefits actually the returns from your system, like what are the increase in sales or the increase in uses, this sort of things. It can be also of two type, like values can be tangible or intangible. So the tangible values will be assigned some values for costing, so we can examine what are the profit. And from intangible value we can say that is getting some intangible benefits, right? So here is a detailed description of what each of the each of these fields fields uh, fields requires. So first we for economic feasibility we need to. So finally, we can summarize the economic feasibility in this way. First, we need to identify the costs and benefits of our information system. Then we need to add some values for each of the costs and benefits, and then determine the cash flow. So cash flow means what are the current situation of our investment. Is it still in uh, debt, or it making profits? Then we should assess the project's economic value. So project's economic value depends on usually three terms. First on the return on investment. So investing how much money, what is the return on that. Then the break even points. So break even points actually indicate the exact point from which you are getting uh, profit. So your system become profitable after the break even point. So it's actually a year based or time based calculation. We'll explain it more into the next part. Then the net present value. So net present value actually represents what is the present value of your information system or the project or the product you have been developed.